Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You may find us syndicated on television, and that's on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. If you're looking for good folks, they were out there sending out that conservative message. Make sure you do listen there. You can also find us now. I didn't tell Mark about this, but you can find us now on the radio. We're with a big powerhouse, and this is right here in South Carolina. Classic Country 92.9, and they are WZLA radio. So proud to be with them as well. Continue sending email. That's a big part of the show. We want to have out there what you like and what you recommend. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. You're not bothering me one bit. Instead of mentioning not bothering someone, Mark Lynch is so excited to be able to talk with you guys today. He's candidate for U.S. Senate right here in South Carolina. You're just right up the road from me, Mark. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing great. How are you, Donna?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's good to be talking with you again today. We had an interview a few weeks ago, well received, I might mention to you as well, but really excited to talk with you. One question that keeps coming up is as far as you and what you've done in your background. I know you're a business owner, very successful business owner. So what you've done in the past, what gears you to think you'd be great in the U.S. Senate?
You know, Donna, our family business is now in its 74th year. My dad started it, and I took over in 1985, and I've been managing our company for 40 years. With God at the center, and we've grown our company 35 times from when I took over. We have 110 employees. When I started, we had 5, and we've been debt free since 1999, personally and corporately. So, you know, I know how to negotiate with the presidents of big corporations. I know how to grow our market share. I know how to work with people, and we have some of the greatest employees that God has gifted us with. And it's about training and communication skills and dealing with problems while they're minimal instead of letting them get to be real big issues, and managing on the fly and holding to our principles and values in our company. And all those skills have come over years of dealing and fighting with the big box chain stores. It's a David and Goliath story, and we've been very successful, and we're a big, powerful business now. And our competition knows who we are, and we have an open door policy. All my employees can come in and talk to me at any time. We're right there in the trenches with them all day, seeing what they need and giving them what they need to win every day. And I'll bring that into the Senate for our South Carolinians by staying in touch and communicating well with our citizens in the state, knowing what the problems are, listening to them and hearing from our citizens, so that we can address their greatest issues.
And that's key. Communication it's all that. Absolutely. I wanted to mention to you, and this is about AI jobs that are coming in. And a lot of this is going through the technical schools. And I wanted to mention this because I have a meeting with Piedmont Technical College coming up, and they're all excited about the meeting, and I am as well. They're going to be frequent guests here on the show. The concern is the education of employees. And with AI coming in such great force, there are going to be some great things happening with AI, I think. Some bad things we're going to have to deal with as well, because you know how that goes as well.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts about community colleges and technical jobs? What can be done to have a better informed employee and a more educated employee?
Well, we've got to, again, we've had big government coming in too much into our education systems through the Department of Education, and we've got to bring back America First agendas and make sure these curriculums, especially with AI, a new frontier, we're all going into a unknown thing, and we know how dangerous it can be. We've seen on the news the other day where a young teenager was influenced by AI to commit suicide. And so we've got to control AI. It has good things. We need to utilize all the good things about AI, but we've got to we've got to discuss that, analyze all the angles of AI, and understand how harmful it can be also, and make sure we're educating our people and not allowing that software and AI to get too far out there where it's controlling us. We're never going to replace people. We can't create smarter intelligence. I mean, the key word is artificial. This is artificial intelligence, and it's only as good as the current software revision. And we're going to learn quickly, I hope, just like we do in our company, the bad things about it, and dispel those and prevent those from coming into our education and the actual use and execution of using AI out here in industry. And we've got to keep our people learning, thinking, reasoning, and coming up with ideas on their own, not just asking ChatGPT and AI to create policies and procedures. We've got to know how it works and think it all the way through into the actual application it's intended for.
You had mentioned it's a frontier. It's a new frontier coming in.
That's right.
As a business owner, you had to go through that every single day. So how were you able to handle those new things? It just could be something as simple as cell phones when they came into existence. How were you able to handle that versus, employees playing on their phones all day long plus doing their jobs?
Right. Well, as we saw it becoming a problem, and everybody's, texting, and when all that started, we had to have a meeting and communicate. Your phone is a telephone. It's a tool, but we have computers at our desk. And if your wife calls or your spouse, your husband calls, or you have an emergency and it's family, that's what the phone's for. But we're not going to sit on them all day. We're going to use them only when necessary. Our managers were trained to spot abuse of telephones, and we started having conversations with it and have communication in meetings and limit the phone abuse at work. We're here to work. We're not playing on our phones all day.
Absolutely.
But, we've had to embrace new technologies, and with the digital and social advertising stuff, because I've majored in advertising, and all that changed how we now get our message to our buyers and consumers out there in our market. But it's just continued education and learning quickly and getting rid of the bad parts of it.
And that's sometimes a hard thing to do. But let's talk for a moment about leadership in the community. A lot of folks don't vote. And that's, I'll tell you, I have an issue with that. Folks who have never voted, but then complain about how things are. How important is it for folks to vote every single election? I'm talking about when it comes to the mayor's race, city council, and then all the way up. How important is it to vote the right local officials as well?
Well, right where we do our lives, where we live in our communities, it's so important that we vote. I mean, every vote counts. We've had elections where the person who won by 3 votes. And so, one person can make a difference like Jesus did. And we have to get out and vote and educate our voters out there about the primary elections. That's what determines our one standing Republican or Democrat that's going to challenge each other in the general. And so our election is June 9th. That's a critical date everybody needs to write down to vote and to determine who your Republican United States Senator will be to go face the Democrat in November.
And that's extremely important. Now, how important is it for us to actually, know what your component is about, your opponent is about, and what you're about? What kind of questions should we be asking folks when we're out there on the trail and we're listening to you? Yes.
Well, my opponent, Paul Dans, a little bit about him. I don't want to disparage him or anything, but he's not a South Carolinian. He's worked and lived in New York and Florida, and our polling states that our voters in South Carolina want a businessman, a successful businessman like myself, not another attorney like he is, or a career politician like Lindsey Graham. And so it does matter, and character matters. Donna, I'm an ordained deacon in our church at Burnsview Baptist Church in Greer, South Carolina, and character matters. And you have to have certain character qualifications and show fruit in your life. And my wife and I don't drink. We've been married for 37 years. She's the only wife I've ever had. Our children are saved. They're doing great. They're both married to Christian spouses. We have 4 grandchildren. Our business is debt-free. We're debt-free. And again, we've lived in this state and produced income into this state and had plenty of people we've hired through the years, hundreds of employees that we've employed in our state, and that keeps the money and everything that we do local to support our local communities with our schools and our roads and everything we do. And that's important.
It is. Let's talk economics, because a lot of folks are say they're suffering right now.
Yes.
My husband and I really don't feel like we are suffering right now, but we don't rely on the government for anything. And we work and do a little gardening and just fun things of life. But there are a lot of folks I know that are living off of food stamps, welfare, that kind of thing. Could there be programs out there that could teach people, just the simple basics of economics on how they can actually thrive?
Well, I think it begins in the homes. And, Satan's first attack is on splitting up the family. And a lot of children are growing up without dads, and the mothers are doing all they can to raise their children. And we rely on the churches to educate biblically, to teach our people the gospel and equip them to go out into the world during the week and make good decisions and to know the Lord and pray and seek his wisdom and discernment to how to do all this out here. And then communities come together and help each other and train people. And that's why, in our job too, we have a chapel and we teach our employees twice a week the gospel of Jesus in the mornings at 8:05 to 8:35. And then we're doing community at work. And there's a lot of families and workplaces that do stick together. Americans know how to help each other. And like you said earlier in this conversation with this question, you're not relying on the government. The Federal Reserve, I will fight to end that so that we stop this inflation tax that we have, that our feds are creating on us and putting our home pricing and everything out of control. We've got our government's too big. We've got to break up all these monopolies that are controlling the pricing and the inflation in this country and bring back to South Carolina an economy that we can all live in and afford to live and enjoy our lives in this great state.
Well, let's talk commodities, and let's talk about people who are living off of the government, so to speak. And yeah. I mean, it's a generational thing. It's like over and over again. And all it's doing is creating Democrat voters, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Well, God says if you don't work, you don't eat. Our business is successful because our family has worked hard. And, we're battling national chain stores that have 2,500 locations. We're one small family store. But we've worked hard and we've put the blood and sweat and tears into it to survive and pay our debts off, and running a debt-free business can survive recessions and things like that, and inflationary seasons that we go into. And we've never had to lay anybody off. And we balance our budgets in our store and operate and watch the expenses and just do what we're supposed to do. And we have to train our community people to do that. Mark. We have to have people inside our government that will fight for the economy and that will not rely and allow all these communist planks to come in and trap our communities into socialism, where they're dependent on food stamps, they're dependent on welfare, and they're sitting at home. And COVID caused a lot of this, where we moved a step further down into socialism by sending checks out to people when they should have been working. And, we allowed our government, the bad actors in our government at the local level and the national level, the federal level, to close our businesses, and they determined that they weren't essential. I had to fight that. And businesses that fought stayed open. We didn't go bankrupt during COVID. We stayed open. The churches didn't lose membership that stayed open, and we've got to get these people out and get good people with character, biblical character, God-fearing patriots back into government. They work for us. They're our employees, and it's time to fire a lot of them.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's go into a commercial break. We'll return in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonesmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Mark Lynch is with me right now, businessman. And I'll tell you what, I think we got a pretty good businessman right now as President of the United States. And I feel that's what it takes. Back in the day, my mom was a Republican, my dad a Democrat. And when Daddy Bush was running against Clinton, I voted for Ross Perot. And I really liked Ross Perot. He was the businessman. A lot of folks, including my parents, said I threw my vote away, but I had to vote my conscience. And I'd like to see more business people in office, people who've owned their own small business, because I feel like that you know what we're going through. And, someone like that in office all across the country, I think would help the whole United States. But let's talk about keeping our expenditures within the United States instead of buying from China. What can happen there?
Yeah. We saw our vulnerabilities in 2020, didn't we? We don't make anything anymore. And, our enemies are controlling our production in America. And I love what Trump has done with the tariffs. I've lived through that. When we had American manufacturers and televisions like Zenith and RCA and Motorola and Magnavox and Philco, they were put out of business with the Japanese wave, and our TV manufacturers came from overseas as we closed all of our factories in America. And we lost American jobs to Sony, Toshiba, JVC, Hitachi, Panasonic, and now we're experiencing a wave from Korea with Samsung and LG. They started with cell phones. and then they manufactured televisions, and now they're in the appliance industry. You know, Greenville, where I'm from all my life, used to be the textile capital of the world, and we lost all of our jobs and our factories closed, and the production went to China. So Trump's bringing American manufacturing back. We've got to employ our own citizens. We're talking to college students, Donna. We presented to Clemson to the Young Republican Club a few weeks ago, and one of the gentlemen said, you know, I'm an engineering major. I graduate next year, and I'm going to be competing to get a job as an engineer in South Carolina against students from India. Their country's paid for their tuition, and they've lived here for 4 9-month periods for the 2 semesters, fall and spring, and I've lived here my whole life, and I'm not going to get a job because they'll take the job that I should get for half the pay. And they'll never assimilate into American culture. They don't worship the one true God we worship here, one nation under the one true God we came and started this country under. And it's just not right. And we've got to stop that. We need to end these H-1B visas. You know, we have 347 million people in our population. 55 million of those citizens in that number are on some form of a visa. The H-1 visa has 730,000 people in our population here just to work here and steal our American jobs. And they bring 550,000 dependents and spouses in that number. So there's 1.28 million people on H-1 visas in this country that we're selling out our employment to foreign nations that are here to destroy this country. And I'll end H-1B visas when I get in. That's crazy. That's got to stop.
Absolutely. Yeah. And let's talk about farmers. Okay. I'm a farmer, and I have, not on a big scale, but I do have chickens, and I have a bee, collect bees and that kind of thing as well. But let's talk about, because I know folks who are losing the farms, and let's say the parents pass away, then there are taxes. The kids all have to make a decision. Is somebody going to buy the farm? You know, so you can keep it in the family. I mean, what are we going to do? We've been faced with so many questions we should not be faced with. But let's talk about farmers, how they can gain more control, because more and more people are coming in from China buying land up. What's that going to do to us?
Well, we're losing our country. We're allowing that. Our governor's allowing the sale of our land to China. Our farmland, hundreds and hundreds of acre plots are being sold to foreign manufacturing and all, again, that are taking our jobs, and they're being incentivized to come here. I've never received tax breaks or anything in our little small family business, but we're incentivizing big corporations to come here, and it creates a big wave of foreign manufacturing, and we don't need to do that. We're losing our farmland. We've got to stop the Agenda 2030 that's out there that's causing this, and we're paying our farmers to pour their milk out, get rid of their cattle, sell the farmland, burn their crops, and these are all planks of communism again that are coming in, so that we're going to have an issue finding food. And you know, we just started buying our cattle and our beef from Argentina when we had it right here. We don't need to be dependent on foreign countries for anything. I'm an American first candidate. We've got to bring America back and do everything that supports America first. And, you know, it's unconstitutional to even have foreign aid. But we need to rely on ourselves. Like Trump says, we need to drill, baby, drill, and produce our own oil and get our prices of our fuel down. I mean, that's just good common business. As we grew our family business years ago to the size it is now, our cost to purchase goods went way down because we buy more, and we're buying direct from the manufacturer, not through distribution. And that's what's happened in this country. We've got a middleman we've got to get rid of called foreign countries, and we need to be producing our own goods, our own food, and do it right here at home.
Absolutely. About 2 minutes left in this segment. Let's talk about, once elected, what would be your first priority?
I would get us out of the United Nations and end the Federal Reserve and work on abolishing federal income tax. Our tariffs are constitutional. That will bring enough income into the economy to pay our government to run. And then we've got to start finding all the waste and abuse and fraud inside of our government budget and get rid of that. We're bankrupt. We've got a deficit of $38 trillion on the debt clock and running. And, you know, when I'm out of money, I can't write a check because it bounces. And we've got to bring basic economics back into our government and stop the fraudulent spending and supporting of every other country but America, and be back running America first again.
I think that's the way to go. Don Brown is an attorney in North Carolina, a good friend of mine. He's running for U.S. Senate there as well. His platform is all about fair tax. What are your thoughts about fair tax? Have you had time to look into that?
I've looked into some of it. Again, I think we need to get rid of property tax. If I own my car or my home, I shouldn't have to pay a protection fee to keep it. We need to abolish income tax and rely on tariffs for that to run our country. And the biggest thing is finding the waste and the over expense with all these unconstitutional agencies we have in America. All the unconstitutional departments of big government. America needs to get back to we the people, where we are running things. We're making decisions. Just like I know there was some questions about public school, and right now we've got to get our curriculums back into the parents' hands and our good teachers, and write our curriculums ourselves, not let an evil government determine what we're teaching the next generation.
You better believe that. What I notice is the kids who are being homeschooled or they're going to Christian private schools seem to be the brightest kids because they're able to think with their own minds. And it's extremely important. Okay, we're going to have to go. How can folks find out more about you, and how can they contribute to your campaign? And are you looking for volunteers?
All of the above, Donna. Go to Lynch for Senate. We have a link tree there that will connect you to our X account and our Facebook page and Instagram, so you can keep up with our campaign. We're winning everywhere we go, but we still need prayer, and we need your support. We need contributions. You can make a contribution for Lynch for Senate. Pray what God would have you contribute. You know, when we got into this, my wife and I felt the washing from God to run for this U.S. Senate seat to represent South Carolina. And we've been debt free, and we've been blessed, and we put $5 million of our own money into this account to start it off. But it's going to take a little more, not a lot more, but a good bit more. And we're going up against a machine in Lindsey Graham. And but God owns all the cattle of 1,000 hills, and if I'm the guy that he's going to appoint, the money will come. So contribute at lynchforsenate.com, and there's also a place to volunteer, and we've got different places you can say that you want to help us in the campaign spelled out, and sign up for one of those, and one of our campaign managers will be in touch with you and let you help with your time and talent that you can help us to win this election.
Sounds
it's
great.
Doable.
Good luck, and I hope you do well. And again, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll have a recording ready for you probably sometime tomorrow. We'll send an email. Thank you again.
Right. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome. And thank you guys so much for watching. Continue sending email. We appreciate that. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Take care.